Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Dave Vish, and I work in the Business Development Department here at EquipSoft. Today we'll be discussing critical EquipSoft extensions, which personalize EquipSoft for your particular business and automate day-to-day tasks which go beyond the basic enterprise resource planning software. Today's webinar will run approximately 30 to 35 minutes, although we're pretty flexible with time. It will include a presentation and any questions and answers at the end. So now I'd like to turn it over to our client account manager and today's presenter, Oliver Lamaka.
Good morning, everyone. Once again, this is Oliver Lamaka. Our agenda for today is really looking at 4 different products. One of them is ChargeLogic for credit card processing. The other one is QuickTag for document imaging and management. The fourth is sales tax automation with AAVE Attacks. And the fourth being eShip by Lanham. So the first thing that we're going to look at, and before I actually start showing you the slide presentations and some very high-level overview of the functionality and some of the features, pros and cons and advantages, and why you are going to want to choose these products, I just want everyone to be aware that this is only going to be a 30 to 35-minute presentation. For the most part, it is a presentation. If you want a more detailed discussion or demonstration of the actual product itself, we can provide you that demonstration in detail, so just please contact us at the end. We'll provide you with a contact information at the end of the presentation so that we can work with you individually and showing you the products in more detail. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you credit card processing and give you a little bit of information of why it makes sense to use credit card processing built by ChargeLogic. ChargeLogic is the company that developed this product on top of Dynamics Nav, which is our product is built upon, called EquipSoft, of course. So I'm just going to hit page down here and just skip to that bad page. Now we're into the ChargeLogic payment. So what are the key advantages of ChargeLogic and what does it do for you? It is a fully integrated solution to Dynamics Nav and EquipSoft. Out of the box, it's fully integrated with Dynamics Nav. What we've done is integrated it into our EquipSoft database. For those of you who are existing customers, if any of you are on the call, you're aware that EquipSoft is built upon Dynamics Nav. So what does that mean? It's fully supported, that all the functionality that you'll be accustomed to in respect to Dynamics Nav is already built into the software, so really all you're learning are new functionalities. It is fully, the other thing that I also want to mention is it also eliminates external hardware and software. So that means that you don't actually have to go into another software so that you can go ahead and process the credit card information. In addition, you don't need specific hardware. Could you use your existing dongle or a swipe card, or can you actually buy a credit card machine? Yes, you can do all of those if you wanted to. Otherwise, you can type in that information directly on the screen. I just want to make sure everyone's clear on that one. It's also PCI, or Payment Credit Card Industry compliant. What they do is they go through yearly audits at ChargeLogic just to make sure that they are completely PCI compliant, following the Security Standards Council, or the PCI SSC, for routine audits. The data itself, when it gets processed, is, as you can see, easy, secure, reliable. It uses an encrypted web service. Web service is the new buzzword today that says, okay, any information that I pass back and forth between 2 different systems, it's just that technology to transfer data over, and it's fully encrypted, which means that, of course, just like your email or you working off of your smartphone or your computer, the data is encrypted so that your customers' information, credit card numbers, are protected. Instant authorization, automatic funds settlement. Once again, the processing is done inside the software, so you're inside EquipSoft Dynamics Nav. You process the credit card information. It communicates to the merchants, the financial institution that issued the bank, the credit card, and so on, so that you have instant settlement. You'll get a chance to see that shortly or understand that a little bit further. verification, address verification, and credit card verification for value matching. So that's all inherent within the software, making sure, of course, that if you want to verify the address in the database versus the address that's associated with a credit card, that you can do that validation. Now, in case you're wondering if you have done your studies, you're probably wondering, well, I know that you're using today Dynamics Nav, which is EquipSoft is built upon. If you did your homework, you probably said to yourself, well, Dynamics Nav has a built-in credit card functionality. Why do we want to have to purchase Charge Logic on top of that, and why would I want that as an extension? Very quickly, by the way, we can send you this live presentation if you'd like as well, so you can get this information. But very quickly, here's the comparison of what is in base nav versus what is in Charge Logic. Having said that, also bear in mind that we have created some custom forms and tables in EquipSoft that are specific to us that's not available to you in base nav. However, there are many other points in here that you will see that base nav does not have functionality for with respect to credit card functionality. As you can see, service orders, service invoicing, and return orders don't necessarily have the credit card functionality using base nav. So yes, it comes out of the box, but please bear in mind that you're going to have limited functionality. You can also see here that the PCI compliancy is very, very important. Yes, it is PCI compliant base nav, but it's really because of the fact that the credit card company or the trade partners that you're working with or the payment processing company are PCI compliant. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're promising that base nav has PCI compliancy, whereas Charge Logic can attest to that it is PCI compliant. And of course, another key point here is that Charge Logic will work with POS terminal and card reader integration. So once again, if you have existing dongle or credit card readers, or if you want to buy separate hardware for it with a screen display, you're also able to do that. There are also a list of predefined payment processors and bank cards, of course, that Charge Logic work with. Now, let's take a quick look down to the next slide and see very quickly what that looks like. Credit card processing is actually very easy to do. It's not difficult to use. Training for it doesn't take very long. Basically, as you can see here in the screenshot, a credit card information is stored against the customer record. Having said that, I also want you to be aware of that the credit card information can also be stored against the contact information in the database. What does that mean? For those of you who are not yet using the software, or if you are using the software and are not using the basic nav CRM built into Dynamics Nav, there is a table called contacts that allows you to maintain multiple contacts for the same customer. So I want you to be aware that if you're dealing with a company with individual users and have individual credit card information, that you can carry and maintain multiple credit cards so that when they're calling you specifically and they want you to use their credit card, you can advance the process using their credit card. However, it's also important to note, as you can see in the account number, that the credit card number is masked out, so to ensure that no one can actually read that information. So if you blank it out, you'll have to type it all in full. You have to know the number. However, what's important to note is that when you do process the information, behind the scene, the software knows exactly what that number is. You don't have to keep typing it, so you just have to select the appropriate credit card number. Now let's go to the next page, and what happens thereafter once you have entered that information, the customer card or contact card. Within the sales order itself, it's just a matter of running a function very quickly and authorizing and selecting which credit card you want to use. It's that simple. If the credit card doesn't already exist in the database, this screen is what you would use to enter that information, at which point, once you use it once, it will store it into the database. So basically, it's that simple as far as how you use the software and how you set it up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you very quickly another slide that kind of runs through the process of what happens with respect to the actual authorization, invoicing, settlement. I'll let you read through that on your own, but I'll just skip through some of the critical parts. Basically, once that information is sitting in the sales order, when you do a post-shipment, for example, which is if you were to use a sales order as an example, keeping in mind that a sales order can be shipped and then invoiced afterwards or shipped and invoiced simultaneously. So in other words, the processing of that sales order is sent during the posting process so that you right away have quick authorization, and then once it comes back, it automatically captures the funds into the database. So all the accounting entries that needs to be done are already taken care of. You don't have to worry about posting a cash receipt. Amount's already been settled and applied automatically to the receivable or the invoice that you post. So it's very, very simple. It's not very complicated. It's no different than you going into a retail store and swiping your card and having that push over to the credit card company and back to EquipSoft. Now, what are the additional features and add-ons that you can purchase off of ChargeLogic? One of the things that's been coming out these days is the idea of cloud-based services. What happens if we have a web portal for our customers to log in and purchase parts, equipment, or do rental transactions or service, etc.? Can we do that over the web? So the answer is yes. There's actually a product called ChargeLogic Connect. If I didn't explain it earlier, the product that I was talking about is called ChargeLogic Payments. ChargeLogic Connect allows you to do cloud-based PCI validation payment transactions. So again, if you launch a web portal or e-commerce and you want your customers to be able to process credit cards, it will go through that process using ChargeLogic Connect. On the other hand as well, you also have the ability to do level 2 or level 3 corporate or purchase cards. Not only of our customers are right now even looking at this particular option, but I want you to be aware that this is available to you with ChargeLogic and not available to you with basic Dynamics now. Finally, there's also credit card machine with screen and keypad. I just want you to be aware that there is only one available hardware that you can purchase that has a screen display and a keypad. And what they offer or integrate currently is the Verifone MX800 series, 810, 850, and so on. So that if you wanted, again, a more sophisticated credit card machine, that is the only one available to you. Otherwise, it will work with your existing swipe cards or dongle that you currently use today. So by the way, that's in a nutshell what ChargeLogic is all about. It's not a very complicated process. Once again, if you have any questions regarding ChargeLogic, I can answer that for you later on at the end of the presentation. And also, if you wanted a demonstration, we can do that for you as well. However, let me just bring you back up to the first few pages because I forgot to point this out to you. You can see the website for ChargeLogic, chargelogic.com. ChargeLogic is one of the few partners we have that actually offer a free demonstration of this software on a regular basis. It's like they do it almost every 3 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. So if you go to the website and click on the events link, it will take you to the most up-to-date next demonstration of both ChargeLogic Payments and ChargeLogic Connect. So that way, you're free to register on your own and view that demonstration. So what we'll do now is we're going to slide over and go into document imaging and management. The product that we have worked with, and in fact, I actually introduced this product about 10 years ago to the company because I had a customer that was looking for a document management solution. And the product is called QuickTag, built by ImageTag. Originally, I believe, and I think they're still owned by 3M, so they were developed in conjunction with 3M, and you'll understand what I mean by 3M shortly once you see some of the screens I'm about to show you. So why QuickTag, and what is the advantage of QuickTag? Essentially, QuickTag allows you to be able to take those paperwork that is sitting around in your drawers, in offices, or in your warehouse that's taking up space, allowing you to be able to scan those documents and associate them against documents within the database itself. So how often have you asked yourself, wouldn't it be nice that I've got this purchase invoice or payable invoice I received from my vendor? Wouldn't it be nice that when I'm processing the purchase order or purchase invoice that I can link that document to it? Wouldn't it be nice for me to be able to take a rental contract or a service contract agreement or a signed service order and be able to scan that and link that to the database? Of course, if you're an existing user of the database or EquipSoft, you're saying to yourself, well, I can do that now. I can go to the scanner, I can scan it, and it goes to my folder. It's got a weird, odd name. I rename it. I go to the software. I open up the links button. I pull that file somewhere in the folder, and I link it to the document. Easy enough. Well, you just saw how much work is involved in doing that. Furthermore, the problem with that technique is that you can not necessarily search that document. In other words, if you want to look for that document, you'd have to find the document or the service order or rental contract associated with it in order to open up the document. So what QuickTag is a fully integrated solution within Dynamics Nav or QuickSoft that allows you to quickly and easily associate paper electronically to the database. One of the key elements that I want to make sure you understand here, in case if you've ever gone to the website or you go after this presentation, is that currently right now it's available on about 35 forms or screens inside software. What we've done is added 15 plus additional forms. So if we have any custom forms, we've added it there. In addition, we've added to some forms that they had not thought about adding to their forms. They've actually asked us to find out which forms we've added them to so they can also add them themselves. Easy capture, in other words, how do we, is it easy enough to get that information? As I described to you previously, the way it works today, it's a little cumbersome. So how can we make that easy? How can QuickTag do that for you? Allows for phased approach. In other words, you don't have to necessarily launch it in every aspect of your business at this point. We have an existing customers that have the purchasing department or the payable department currently using it right now. They plan on using it across the other divisions or departments, but again, you don't have to do every part of your business. Search globally for NAV and non-NAV related documents. So imagine being able to scan it and being able to search for that document, because with OCR reading technology, as you're scanning it, it's actually trying to index the actual document itself. So imagine being able to type a keyword and being able to find that document, not necessarily knowing what the document's file name is. It's easy to implement, easy to use, and easy to grow. If you want us to say, Oliver, I really would like you to add on the QuickTag onto this form, but it's currently not available. Can we do that for you? Yes, we can. So we can easily customize that for you. Interact with web or database-driven solution. What's important to note with QuickTag is that you can also do this through the web, and you can use QuickTag in other database solutions. So what I'm trying to say there is that you have other databases in your company, it's quite possible that QuickTag has already worked with the type of database you're working with. So really, you're leveraging the cost of QuickTag across your organization if it's available in the database that you're working with. Enabling retrieval of those documents by everyone in the company so that you don't necessarily have to limit the number of users or the users that have access to that information. Because the data is being stored in a place where you are actually doing a backup for it and securing it, disaster recovery is very important, and data protection. How often have you said to yourself, where is that file located, this folder, that network drive, but you're not actually backing up that folder? One of the biggest concerns is making sure that this information, of course, gets backed up. Speed to value, low total cost of ownership. Because, again, it will save you, from an implementation time perspective, it saves you time there. It saves you time with respect to using it, and of course, it saves you real estate with respect to the amount of room that paperwork does take in your warehouse or offices. By the way, just a quick note, QuickTag was actually born many years ago because a New York legal firm was looking for a solution. And as you know, in New York, law firms, their real estate space is very important, so they don't necessarily want to keep paper, so all their documents are now scanned. So how does QuickTag work? This is a very quick overview of how it works. I'm not going to go into the details of what options do I have with scanning it, entering it. I'm just going to give you what normally people do with it. So the first thing they do is they open up their sales order or their purchase order, and then they click on the Tag Document button to say, let me tag this document. The QuickTag screen will pop up, okay, and it has a serial number associated with it. You can enter it or default. And that serial number is actually associated. If you look at the right-hand side of the system here, so after you enter it, you tag it, you are given a barcode, bunch of stickers with a serial number and a barcode. You affix that to the document itself. You don't have to worry about getting up and going to the scanner. You can collect all that information and put it in a box right beside the scanner, so the rental people can go to that box, drop off their documents with the QuickTag tag. The service department can do the same thing, so you get a pile of these documents that needs to be scanned. At the end of the day, someone just has to pick that up, put it in the scanner, press the scan button, and with the integrated solution that is installed in the background, the scanner solution will scan that, and then what it will do is it will attach it back to the document. As you can see, it's an easy solution. It doesn't require that much work. So that's a high-level presentation of QuickTag for you. What we'll do now is we'll move on to sales tax automation. Okay. Sales tax automation is developed by a company called AAVE, but they have their own website for AAVE Attacks. The product is called AAVE Attacks Calculation. Essentially, what is sales tax automation and what does it do for you? Just like ChargeLogic and QuickTag, it's fully integrated to Dynamics Nav and EquipSoft. It's fully supported. It's also cloud-based. What they do is allow you to be able to manage your business from a sales tax reporting standpoint. One of the key things that we always hear from customers of ours that have multiple branch locations that span the geography of North America or the U.S., whether they're based out in Louisiana and they have an office in Missouri, they have an office in Utah, they have an office in Illinois or New York. For them, it's very difficult to understand, okay, what jurisdiction, what tax rate should I charge a customer when I'm delivering it to Syracuse versus to Chicago or versus Tallahassee in Florida? Because we understand that it gets complicated with different states where you have city, you have county, you have state taxes, you have special taxes, and so on. So what they do is, through the cloud-based solution, provide you those up-to-date tax rates. Those tax rates are not actually stored in the database. What we do is we connect EquipSoft into AAVE Attacks' server in their office, wherever they have their servers, via the cloud, so that they maintain one database of all that information and then send back to you what tax amount should be charged to the customer. You will see momentarily what that means. Part of that validation to send that information back and forth is the address validation. In other words, you want to make sure that when you create a ship to address, let's face it, everyone knows that it's 99% of the time, it's really the ship to address you want to charge taxes for, not necessarily who you're billing on that order or contract. The system will allow you to validate the address to ensure that it follows the Postal Service format, and you got the proper postal code and so on, and so that we can also make sure that when we are passing that information to AAVE Attacks, that we're giving you the right rates. Jurisdiction assignment, geocoding technology. What it does is allows you to be able to, using geocoding technology and mapping, allow you to be able to pinpoint specifically the location of that particular customer ship to address and ensure that you're getting the right tax rates. Because let's face it, I'm Canadian, but I know for a fact that I've dealt with, as a former accountant, by the way, I've dealt with a lot of customers that have a lot of different location ship to addresses, and I know for a fact that you drive about a mile away and then it's a different tax rate. So that's what I mean by geocoding technology, allowing you to verify that. Product taxability, products and services codes. One of the biggest problems a lot of our customers are having right now is determining, and for that, some of you who have already implemented the software, determining, okay, at what point do we say that an equipment that I'm going to rent versus an equipment that I'm going to sell, or a part that I'm going to sell to a customer, whether that's taxable or not? Well, of course, it's depending on whether they're going to resell it or actually use it. Sourcing rules, destination, origin based. Once again, I mentioned ship to address. And finally, reporting. Reporting is a very important factor here, because one of the things that you want is be able to create these different reports that are required by the different jurisdictions. So you're not actually creating this report inside EquipSoft. You're actually creating them or running them off of AAVE Attacks. They are the tax expert. All we're doing is receiving that information to make sure we bill your customer and we post the proper tax liability, tax receivable account in the GL. However, the actual tax reporting will be done by AAVE Attacks, and it's a lot more robust than what we can offer you. Having said that, do we have basic taxing in the software? Of course. We have a lot of customers that do not use AAVE Attacks that span many, many different states and cities. It's just a matter of you maintaining it on your own, including updating the tax rates. So what does AAVE Attacks versus base NAV really do? And what's the comparison? Typically today, a customer, and by the way, a vendor as well, I'm just talking about sales at this point, is attached to what we call a tax area code. A tax area code is made up of one or more jurisdictions. A jurisdiction is made out of a city, I meant to say county there, not country, state, or special taxes. So now imagine trying to figure out exactly what combination of jurisdiction code that you want to assign to a tax area, which you want to assign to a customer. That gets a bit complicated, because you're not necessarily going to know based on the postal code exactly what that is. You'd have to do your homework. The third element here is the tax group code, which we assign to products or services. In other words, is this part, regardless of who I sell it to, taxable or not? But let's face it, we know for a fact that some customers might be non-taxable, some customers might be taxable, again, depending on the state or the jurisdiction. The tax detail, on the other hand, holds your combination of jurisdiction, in other words, the city, county, state, and the tax group code. So is the county taxable, yes or no? Is the city taxable, yes or no? And the applicable tax rate. So what we do, or what AAVE Attacks does now, is simplifies that for you. So instead of actually on the customer card, and this is what you're seeing here, on the customer card having to worry about a specific tax area code with one or more jurisdictions assigned to a customer, all your customers will be assigned a generic tax area code called AAVE Attacks. It's that simple. Imagine just going down the list and saying F8, 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 or copy, copy, copy the word AAVE Attacks on all the tax area code column for all your customers or ship to addresses. The reason we can do that is through the validation of the address. As soon as you hit the button called Validate Address in EquipSoft, it will validate that information in AAVE Attacks. As you can see, AAVE Attacks has a tax area code that has several jurisdictions. All of these codes are coded properly so that when you finally create a sales order, it goes back to AAVE Attacks to give you the right tax rate. Having said that, I also want you to be aware that there's also some more setups that you need to do to be able to map the tax group codes associated with your products and services that you rent, that you sell, and that you service, okay? Because the system's not going to know that until you map it yourself. Now, how does the tax processing flow work? So this is a very high level. I'll let you read through that, but basically you set up your company, you set up your states, which states you deal with, so we know which city and county belongs to those states. We connect AAVE Attacks to EquipSoft. In other words, we connect EquipSoft to their service. We map the product and service codes, as I mentioned to you earlier. We assign the tax area code called AAVE Attacks to all customers. We validate the address for each one just to make sure that we've got the right address and it's in the proper format. Let's say you create a sales order, you release it, you run statistics. For those of you who are using the software today, you press F9, or you go ahead and post that transaction, and it will calculate the taxes for you. And of course, finally, when you want to see your tax reports, you go to AAVE Attacks to run those reports. It's that simple. The next thing we're going to take a look at is eShip. eShip is developed by a company called Lanham Associates. For those of you who have done your homework with respect to Dynamics Nav and EquipSoft, Lanham is actually a fairly big company. They don't just do eShip. They're the people that we would contact and work with respect to EDI. So if you want EDI solution, we offer them to you. Lanham is also the company for that. However, eShip is a solution that simplifies your shipping process, specifically if you're a company that has to deal with UPS or FedEx and you have like many different orders that you have to prepare, that you have to UPS and FedEx. How do we make that easier for you? Essentially, just like the other three products, this is fully integrated to your database, Dynamics Nav and EquipSoft. It captures the package level detail. In other words, it captures exactly the parts or the items or inventory items that you have on the document or the sales order. It gives you visibility to the package and tracking numbers. So after the fact, once it's been shipped, you can go ahead and click the tracking number. It takes you to the link to the website and allows you to be able to see what the status of that delivery is. Of course, increase shipping accuracy by scanning items. We can also integrate this to a barcode if required. Shipping charges are automatically inserted. I should have said inserted there because you might decide instead of posting it, delete it if you want to or adjust the price. But I want you to be aware that the shipping charges through the setup that you perform in the software will add additional charges there based on the cost that UPS and FedEx is going to charge you, and then you can mark that up whatever you like in dollars or percentages. It will work on multiple warehouses. So if you have multiple warehouses and shipping points, a lot of our customers have multiple warehouses. And of course, it ships, eShip supports UPS, FedEx, and so on, which are along with USPS, or the Postal Service, so that you can see it simplifies that process for you without having to use an external software. So much like what I said earlier with ChargeLogic or QuickTag, you don't have to worry about going in for credit card. You don't have to worry about going into a third-party software, going to the UPS software or the FedEx software to be able to push this information through. Rate shopping is available on the sales order as well, so that you can rate shop for the most effective price. So how does it work? It's actually very simple. You have a sales order. You run a function called pack line scanning. Within the pack line scanning process, you go ahead and grab all the sales order you want to pack together. When I say all your sales order, it could be one or more sales orders. Otherwise, you can pack one sales order at a time. It will pull all the inventory or items into the pack list. At that point, depending on the weight, you enter your weight, and depending on, again, how much information you have stored in the database, how much information you want to track, you can also have the net weight, the gross weight. Please bear in mind that the parts card or item card in the database today does have weight fields associated with it. Once you do that, the software will allow you to process that tracking number and associate it directly to the sales order. What it will also do is it will print a bill of lading. It will also print your UPS and FedEx sticker that you can affix to the box. Of course, you would need a label printer for that. And finally, after it does that, it will also auto-insert a freight charge against your sales order automatically. Once again, it's your choice whether or not you want to mark up that further, delete the line, or add additional line items to charge your customer. So that in itself is eShip. What you have seen so far is a very quick overview, just a quick presentation of the pros and cons. Like I said, the advantages and why you would pick those solutions. If you want a much more detailed demonstration, we'll be glad to offer that to you, either ourselves directly or our partner like ChargeLogic that does it on a regular basis. So let's open up the floor to some questions now.
Thanks, Oliver. Oliver, one of the questions submitted was, how long would the implementation for ChargeLogic or QuickTag take? In other words, what would be an estimate as far as number of hours?
Typically speaking, as an estimate, charge logic takes about 40 hours to implement. And after that, because it's really a simple setup and simple setup training, it's actually not very difficult. You'll be up and running about 40 hours. On the other hand, so the other one you asked was QuickTag, right?
Yes.
QuickTag is the same way. Really, with QuickTag, all we need to do is set up the QuickTag application server that talks to your scanner so that once you're scanning, it actually knows where to go. And then the QuickTag server sends that back information to EquipSoft. So actually using the product itself, like QuickTag, as you saw, you pop up the screen, you type in the serial number, you affix the sticker, and you're done. With credit card, screen pops up, you put the credit card number in, you click authorize, that's it. Most of the work really is to set it up and determine, exactly what the setups and configuration you want. It's really no different than AAVE Attacks as well. AAVE Attacks takes a little bit longer only because there are more setups involved. I always say it's a wonderful software, but it can't necessarily think for you as far as, like I said, is this product for resale when I sell it to my customer, or are they actually going to use it themselves as part of consumption, let's say an oil filter that they use for one of their machines. eShip is the same way. It doesn't take very long to actually use it. Using it's very simple, but to set it up with all your markups and all your different services and so on is what takes a while. But if you're currently using the software today, you can appreciate that once you set it up today and you set it up properly, it pretty much maintains itself on your own. You don't have to worry about doing more setup unless, of course, UPS or FedEx, in eShip's case, offers additional service that you don't have in your database yet.
Got it. Yeah. And another question we received, which is sort of related to that previous question, was when do you normally implement these extensions?
Generally speaking, during the discussion, I'm also, as you can see, I'm demonstrating the software. So if I ever demonstrate to you on-site or remotely, we always tell you, we'll let you know about the product that it's capable of our product is capable of delivering the services to you, and we will quote you on it. But do we necessarily implement it during the ERP implementation itself? I always say no. Let's wait. Let's understand how to do a sales order first. Let's understand how to do a purchase order. And then once we get into this part of the implementation, it's just a matter of, click the authorize button, put the credit card in, hit the button to send out information. That's it. That's how easy it is. It also eliminates having to worry about what other setups that I need to do. Let's get you going, understanding the software, and then we'll do the second phase, third phase project. So the other thing that I also want to mention is this. If, for example, we decided to do a phase 2 of this project, let's say credit card or charge logic, but let's say a month before you're about to go live, you realize, you know what, I'm good to go. I'm ready. We know what we're doing. Everybody knows how to do a sales order. Can we start implementing charge logic the week before go live? Sure, absolutely. So that phased approach doesn't necessarily mean after you go live, let's wait 3 months. We could do it the day after or the week after.
Okay, well, those were the only questions we received, Oliver. So everyone, this concludes our presentation. On behalf of Oliver and the entire team here at EquipSoft, I sincerely thank you all for taking the time to join us today. If you have any other questions about EquipSoft, we'd be happy to assist you in any way we can. We can see, as you can see on the screen now, there's our contact information. So with that, thanks again, everyone, and we hope that you can join us again in our ongoing series of webcasts, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.